Coaches, good afternoon, good morning. Thanks for tuning in to PowerChalk University. My name is Chaz Henry, and I'm the founder of PowerChalk. The format of this webinar series will be 3 half-hour sessions. Basically, the next 2 Mondays at noon, we'll be covering filming, uploading, telestrating, sharing, and more. Basically, we're going to cover everything you need to know to get started using PowerChalk with your teams and players. So that's really our goal, is to get you using analysis and making the insights that we believe only come with slow motion video. So with that, let's talk about the ground rules. Basically, if you're on a Wi-Fi system, you should consider moving to a wire. It's just an absolute fact that there's less resends, there's just better bandwidth. Most of you are getting your audio through the mic and speakers, so you're just going to get better bandwidth, you're going to get less lag through a wired connection as opposed to a Wi-Fi. You have 2 choices in audio. If you're getting your audio through and you're lagging with mic and speakers, you can use the telephone option. So in your control panel, you'll find a telephone radio button, and if you'll click that, it'll give you the dial-in numbers that you can use to get your audio through there. You can also, there's a view menu in your control panel. You can use the view menu to get your best fit. I encourage you through the session to ask questions. So there is a Q&A pod, there's a questions pod, and you can at any point fire a question off to us, and we'll do our best to either answer it in the background personally to you or to everyone if we think it's germane to everyone. If not, we may address it, as the sessions continue. So please use the Q&A pod. I'm assuming throughout that you are being interactive, and in fact, I'd encourage you, if you've got another monitor or even a large monitor, to open up the PowerChalk site and to follow along, to go ahead and log into your account. That's also one of my assumptions you see here at the bottom, is we are assuming that you are registered. These invites were sent to registered users, so we're assuming that you're registered at PowerChalk.com or one of our many affiliates, that you have a microphone. So basically, and then microphone is not for these sessions because this is kind of a one-way broadcast, but I'm assuming that in order to do a ChalkTalk, so in order to start analyzing the video and record that analysis or broadcast that analysis, you'll need a microphone. We recommend USB headsets. They just have less interference than the old headphone-style jacks that plug into the speaker or the microphone connection. We're assuming that you've got a camera, an iPhone, an iPad, and that's really all about taking video. Now, obviously, you can use the video that's already on the system. There's thousands of videos uploaded every day. About half of them are marked public, half are marked private, but anything that's public is at your disposal to either make new insights, show your kids, your players, your parents some of the motions that you're trying to model. But we also believe that the real power is in using your camera and starting to model and starting to show your players their motion. So also this session is being recorded, and it will show up at youtube.com/PowerChalk. So those are the ground rules. Like I said, fire questions at any point, and with that, we'll dive right in. So PowerChalk, for those of you who have used video analysis, and even for those that haven't, PowerChalk is a little different animal. PowerChalk is completely web-based, and what we mean by that is that everything is centralized. So as opposed to me taking camera and plugging in another motion analysis system and working off of that camera or working off the SD card, what PowerChalk does is it requires that everything be uploaded to the PowerChalk servers. Now, the beauty of that is that you can collaborate. So I can talk to my golf coach in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I can say, hey, I just came off the range and I just hit these balls. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. He has access to that same video. So basically, the cloud is where everything winds up. All right, so whether I took that from my camera, whether I took it from my iPad, whether I'm working off my computer, my Android, my iPhone, everything goes to the cloud, and the cloud becomes the central repository. Now, that's different from a lot of systems that you're familiar with in that I'm really not working off the camera directly. So we'll talk about the advantages, and there are disadvantages. No matter what approach you take, there are advantages and disadvantages, and we'll talk about those. So registering on the system. Now, if you registered at www.littleleagueconnect.org, that is our partner site with Little League Baseball. So that's the only case where you will actually be on a different server, and this comes up, and it's the reason I mention it. From time to time, we'll have people who say, I'm on the system, and I'm trying to friend Chaz Henry so we can start collaborating and sharing, but it turns out that one of those is on Little League Connect, and the other might be on PowerChalk.com. So we also have affiliates, but you'll notice the PowerChalk Australia, the amateur softball, these are all located on PowerChalk.com. So all of the, if you go to PowerChalk.com/Epstein, for example, then you will be coming in the Epstein hitting door. Now you'll still be able to share with all the people on the PowerChalk domain, but you'll see banners and you'll see custom headers that are particular to the Epstein hitting instructors. So again, I just want to make that clear that you should come in the correct door. If you've been working with an affiliate, if you're a Disney Spring Training customer, it's better to come in at PowerChalk.com/Disney, so you'll be with those other teams. And there are certain organizations and there are certain friends, but the one that kind of stands out is Little League Connect, and that is on a separate server. If you find yourself on the wrong server, if you're trying to connect with the Little League folks, and you don't see anybody that you know is already registered, just send us an email, info@powerchalk.com, and we can transfer you over to a different server. All right, so with that, let's talk about what a free account is. If you go and register any of the URLs that I gave you, your immediate option is to get a free account. And what that gets you is a 10 video locker. It gets you the ChalkTalk Telestrator, and that is our video analysis and markup tool. It gets you the ability to record a 2-minute video. So you can go in and you can start to analyze videos, you can slow them down, you can mark them up, and it will time out in 2 minutes. Now, you can, obviously there's upgrades to all these features, but we really try to give you, the coach, a functional locker so you can start to investigate whether or not motion analysis will work for your players and your students. So you also get access to the mobile apps. The mobile apps we're going to talk a lot about in the subsequent session. We probably won't get to them much today. We've got a lot to cover on the Telestrator side. But the mobile apps are completely free, and they fully integrate you to your online locker. So going back to that web-based, that cloud-based diagram that I showed, the mobile apps connect you to that locker. All right, so with that being the free account, here's what a premium account does. Premium accounts are $9.95 per year. If you're a member of one of those organizations that I talked about, you may have a member deal, so you may have an advantage in upgrading. But essentially, here's what the pro account is. Now, you can buy these line items individually, or you can buy them as what we call the Analysis Pro Pack for $99.95 per year. And what that gets you is split screen, so you'll have the ability to analyze videos 2 at a time. So I can put an A and a B video on the screen, and I can look at them side by side, or I can go back and forth between them. Your locker will be expanded to a 500 video locker. And by the way, if you need 1,000, if you need 1,500, you can upgrade just that piece. So you can kind of mix and match, or you can buy these a la carte. You can buy 500 more videos for $29 more per year. You'll have the ability to broadcast your screen. So one of the ways that we offer video analysis is to take a video and mark it up, record what you say and do, and send that back to your student. But the other way is to broadcast your screen live, and that's what PowerCast is. Again, we'll go into this in more detail. I think if we talk about these 2 or 3 times, they start to soak in. But that's what PowerCast is, the ability to share your screen. With the Pro Pack, your record time will go up to 8 minutes. And 8 minutes is our maximum at this time, and it's really not a technology limitation, but it's something we found very early on in working with different coaches, is that when you are on the web, you're in short attention span theater. So one of the things we firmly believe in, that we preach, is that to get on a video and to talk to my student or my player for 30 minutes is really misguided, because their attention span is not that long, and especially on the web. We seem to have a shorter attention span. It seems to be going down constantly, but I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but we we have the ability to absorb more information, and we want it in a shorter time on the web. So what I would suggest to you, coaches, if you've got something that really requires 30 minutes, and there are things that require 30 minutes, break it into pieces. And talk to me, if we were talking about my golf swing, talk to me about my footwork, and talk to me about my lower body in one 8-minute record session. Pull up the exact same video. Show me again what I'm doing with my hands or what I'm doing, with my rotation in another video, and break it into pieces. So if you'll break it into bite-sized chunks, then I'll be able to digest it a little more thoroughly as a player. You've also got, with the ProPack, the ability to upload multiple videos at the same time. So that's what a premium account is. We'll touch on it later. We'll touch on it when we get into the Telestrator. But I just wanted to introduce that because whether you're using a free account or the premium account will determine some of the screens, how some of the screens look, and we'll talk about that as they come up. So with that, if I register and whether or not I upgrade, I get a locker. And as soon as I log in, you'll notice there's not a lot of fluff pages on the PowerChalk site. As soon as you log in, as soon as you get past the, here's what PowerChalk is for those who have not signed up, once you do sign up, we take you straight to your locker. So what you're going to see on the left side, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back and forth between these two screens. This is the actual PowerChalk site, and you'll notice on the left here is my outline that I'll keep coming back to. But on the PowerChalk site, you'll notice I'm logged in as Chaz Henry. All right, so up in the right-hand corner, I can pull that down. I can sign in and sign out, log in as someone else. I can look at my locker, my friends. But basically, the system takes me to this locker. And you'll notice it parks me in my videos. So that's really where I start each time. You'll notice I have 553 videos in my locker. And we'll talk about how to sort through those. But it's worth mentioning that where I'm at is the same as me punching this button right here, videos. So this is kind of our homepage. Again, we assume you're a professional coach and we're taking you straight to work and we take you to videos. Now within this file manager, if you will, I can move around. So I can go up to public videos. And when I click that node, it takes me into the public videos section and starts to expand that tree. So you'll notice in the public videos section, I can look at different sports. So I can open up this sport pull down, and now I get archery and Australian football and baseball and biomechanics, etc. And if I'm parked at the topmost node, it just shows me chronologically what's coming in. So you notice these are the videos that are coming in from the world at large right now, and they're in chronological order. So newest first, and I'll slide around through here. So you notice there's T. Glavin has uploaded some baseball video. We've got golf video. Looks like our new U.S. Open champion, Webb Simpson. M. House has uploaded there when there's another Webb Simpson. So we've got Curtis Strange. We've got Colin pitching. Now one thing I'll point out is you'll notice that some of these videos, this James video right here, has a little neutron, what we call the PowerChalk neutron. So let me get my highlighter here, and I'll mark that. So the PowerChalk neutron right here indicates to me that this is a ChalkTalk. And what we mean by that, you'll notice that this Colin video is 2 minutes and 11 seconds. And you'll notice that here's another ChalkTalk right here. I'll highlight that. This particular video is 6 minutes and 21 seconds. So this Neil Hunter video by Jay Jones is essentially a video that's been pulled into the Telestrator, analyzed, marked up, annotated, and then saved back to Jay Jones's locker. And it is 6 minutes and 21 seconds. So the other thing you'll notice is when I'm in this file manager that the videos that are not ChalkTalks, so the Colin video here has the ChalkTalk symbol. So I have the ability to say ChalkTalk this video. In other words, pull it straight into the Telestrator. I do not have that same option. The little guy with the headset is not present on this Neil Hunter video because it already is a ChalkTalk. So the Neil Hunter video can only be played. So I could play that. I could pop up the player. And I know this really won't come through, but I'll just give you an idea of what that does. I'll pop up the player right there and hit stop. And you'll notice that that pops up a little pop-up window that can be played and then with the X in the corner dismissed. Okay, so that's how I would play that video. And I have other options with each video, and I can pull this menu down. And the options will vary depending on whether or not I am the owner. So if you remember, we were in public videos, and with this public video that I do not own, I can mark it as a favorite. I can embed it, so I can get the codes just like you can with a YouTube video, and I can embed it in a web page or an email. I can share it, so I can send you a link, and I can say, hey, coach, here's what this guy is saying, or here's how this kid looks. I think this is a good model, for Mike. I can share it out that way, or I can report abuse. Report abuse basically means one of the things we're doing here with PowerChalk is we're creating a very wholesome site. This site is for sports videos. This is not cats playing the piano, unless you want to analyze that in slow motion. But essentially, we want to create a site that is very pure in sports analysis. So this would be the way that you would tell us that this is an inappropriate video, and we'll get it off of there immediately if you report abuse on that. Okay, so again, I'm in the public videos, and I'm browsing through the various videos. I can go up to, I'm going to open another node and just show you the file manager in general. We're also developing a library of what we call premium content. So within that premium content library, we went just weeks ago to Fort Lauderdale, and we filmed the 2012 USA Diving Grand Prix. So if you're a diving coach and you're looking for a 205B from the 3-meter springboard, there it is. So again, I can pull that up and I can ChalkTalk, or I can play that video and I can show my diver their dive in comparison with those dives. So part of the goal of ChalkTalk, or part of the goal of PowerChalk, is to create the library both through user-generated content and through content that we are going out, and we'll be out again. We were at the 2011 Amateur Softball Association World Cup, and we filmed hundreds of pitches and swings, put what we felt like were the best of them up on the site, and they're there for you to use, with your girls to model these pitches and swings. So there's the World Cup. Here are PGA swings from golf pro Greg Grexa, who has a slow motion Casio XLM camera, and over the last few years has been filming many of the PGA events. So here's Luke Donald and McIlroy and Schwartzel, Adam Scott, Fred Couples, etc. So again, these videos are in the library, they're public, they're free, and they're available for you to compare your players against. Similar situation with the 2012 USA Baseball, who's in Cary, North Carolina, which we are located in as well, has introduced this year the National High School Invitational Tournament. So they invited 16 of the best teams in the country to come and compete in a double or a single elimination for the winner, but each team got 4 games. Tournament that decided basically the National High School Championships. Mater Dei won, by the way, and here's some Jeremy Martinez and Ty Moore. A handful of these guys have already been drafted by the big leagues, so these are very good models for your younger players as far as pitches and swings. So that's the locker, and this is the locker page. And again, we'll talk more about these other nodes, but you can move around and you can find content either to ChalkTalk or to play. You can mark things as favorites. So if I find a really good tall left-handed pitcher that I will be comparing a lot of my players again, while I'm on that video, I'll just mark him as a favorite, and then he'll come down into this list, which you notice is only 23 long. So instead of looking at thousands of videos at a time, I can throw things into my favorites, even if they don't belong to me, because they're clips that I want to refer back to frequently. Okay, so that's the locker in general. Here's how this is the tree, that you navigate, and here on the right pane is the content that is in the node that you're parked on. So with that, let's talk about how do we get those videos up there. So there's essentially 4 ways to upload video to my locker. The first way is the web page, and we're gonna talk a lot about the web page. In fact, I'm going to go through and show you exactly how to get things up into your locker via the PowerChalk web page. So it's just an upload web page. But I want to make you aware of 3 other ways that you can get video up to your locker. We have what's called the send to, or the right mouse. So if you're familiar with Windows, and this is by the way for the Mac users, even though we're very Mac compatible, this is what we call a helper app, and you'll find it under Apps, PC Helper Apps, and then Send to Uploader. And what that is, that's an executable. So you notice that when I hover over it, it offers me the ability to download this PowerChalk Send to setup. And if I do, and I install that on my machine, then every time that I pop up a Windows file browser, I have the ability to right mouse on any of the file names if it's a valid video file and say send to, and then click PowerChalk. So this is something, for example, that the Dodgers use. They use it regularly because they upload hundreds of videos, and what they do is, whether those videos are on an SD card or whether they're on a hard drive, they can just easily right mouse each video, and you can even multi-select videos. Just right mouse it and say send to PowerChalk. And what will pop up is a little miniature dialog that collects the who, what, when, where about that video and then sends it straight into your locker. So that's really method number 2. Method number 3, and you'll also find it under that same PC Helper Apps, is what's called the PowerChalk Explorer. And where that comes in handy is, if you'll notice, it looks a lot like the Windows Explorer. All right, so it gives me the full tree of all of my hard drives on the left, and it gives me on the right, when I park on each one of those folders, it gives me the list of valid videos, and it also gives me a little miniature player. So I can click on this Curtis Granderson video, and I can now play it. Because many times as a coach, you go out and you shoot 500 videos, and you shoot them in small segments, maybe 1 or 2 swings at a time, and not all of them are usable. So especially when you're filming a game, you may get a curveball in the dirt, and you may get a wild pitch, and you may get a check swing, things that aren't really teachable moments. So with those videos, it's very often the case that you're going to throw 2/3 of them away. So what this lets you do is lets you go down the list and click on each one, play it, and say, oh, that's a keeper, that's a keeper. And you can now indicate, you can select the videos that you want to upload, and there's 2 tabs on here. Once you've identified and pretty much staged all of the videos you want, then you go upload them all en masse. Okay, so that's what the PowerChalk Explorer is. It's a PC helper app to sort through your videos and pick the ones that you want to upload straight to PowerChalk. Okay, and again, we'll go through some of these in more detail on the second, third session. But I know part of learning PowerChalk is everyone wants to get straight to the Telestrator. So I'm working my way as quickly as I can straight to the Telestrator. And let's talk before we leave here about the mobile client. We do have mobile clients for Android, iPhone, and iPads. So if you're looking for those, go into the app stores or the Android marketplace and look for PowerChalk. And what you'll want to install, the app you'll want to download and install, is called the 10-second Telestrator. And besides being a Telestrator, it also has upload capability. So you'll have the ability with your mobile client to upload straight to your PowerChalk locker. All right, so let's talk about the upload page. So within PowerChalk, you have an upload pull down, and you could upload either videos or photos. So let's click videos, and it will bring me to a page that basically says what's the sport. We call this the who, what, when, where page, and what's the folder. And the folder is also, for us, we recommend that you use the athlete's name. So my son is, I have two boys, and I have Cole and Ian. If I have a clip of Cole from his baseball game, then I would put Henry, Cole. because he's got a couple nicknames, but he's always Henry. So if a coach is looking for those, then his videos, then we want to put his last name first. So in this case, it's a pitch, and this was on his 12U team, and let's say that he hit a fastball. And now what I do, once I filled in all of those pieces, then I simply, and you see the accepted file types here. We understand almost all of the known video file formats. What I simply do is click Add, and then I browse my way to the file that I'm looking for. So in this case, you notice I went to the SD card. So I've taken an SD card out of my camera, and I go to a folder called DCIM. DCIM, by the way, you'll see that on these camera cards, or on the camera itself, stands for Digital Camera Internal Memory. So that's a little factoid. Kodak started that decades ago, and a lot of the camera companies have followed suit. So I browse into there, and this particular SD card was not in that camera, but you get the idea. I would browse my way into the folder that has my videos, and I would select that video and say Save. That throws it in this list, and then I simply click Upload. So that very quickly is how to get a video up to your locker. Now, having said that, let me point out that there's two ways to go, even within recording with an external camcorder. Almost all of the camcorders these days have an SD card, and as you hit the start stop button, you're creating individual files on the camcorder itself or on the SD card. So you still have two ways to go. You can tether the camera. You'll notice this wire that is running the length of my recorder here. So I've got the wire that's going into my laptop in this case, and then that laptop becomes a hard drive. So I would literally browse my way onto the hard drive that is this camera. Okay, the opposing approach is to take the SD card itself out. So in this case, I've taken the SD card out and I've put it in the computer, and that becomes a hard drive. So either way, the web page that we talked about, the web page works, and it becomes the upload vehicle to bring the files, the video files, off of this camera. Be sure that you're matching those file names, because it has to be a valid video to come up to the page. So again, I see that we're approaching 3 or 4 minutes to go here, and I want to get to the Telestrator. So let me erase all my markups here, and we'll talk about the ChalkTalk Telestrator. So the Telestrator is actually, on the PC or the Mac, is a Flash application. Now we could probably do a whole half-hour session on the future of Flash, but let me tell you my humble opinion. Flash is alive and well. In fact, Flash will be built into IE 8, not IE 8, but Windows 8. The next Windows that's coming out, it will be a fundamental part of the browser in Windows 8. So contrary to some of the reports, Flash is alive and well, and it is the best way to deliver to a PC or Mac what's called a rich application. So it's actually a program in a page. And to get to the Telestrator from PowerChalk, let's go back to my browser window and just simply click Telestrate. So Telestrate, you notice I'm in Firefox here. Runs in IE, it runs in Safari, it runs in Google Chrome, and it lives inside the page. Now, it doesn't look like a normal web page because it takes up the whole page. But essentially what you've got is you've got an application. You've got the Telestrator app that updates itself. So you notice here when I hover this, we're on version 7.51. You'll see at the bottom there. And that means 751 times we have released a new version of this. And when we release the next version, you'll get it automatically by just coming to this page. So that's the Telestrator. We have a Telestrator on the iPad and Android, but these are native apps. So since Flash doesn't run on the iPhone, we've basically written the Telestrator again, and it lives on the iPhone as an app. It's written in Objective-C. We wrote it a third time for the Android devices. So we really have 3 applications that are, markup Telestrators, and they're native to the device that they run on. Now, quick word about this. The first time that you ever go into the web page that is the Telestrator, you'll get a security warning, and this is coming from Flash and not from PowerChalk, and it basically says, is it okay to use the microphone and camera? And you can allow or deny. Obviously, if you're going to record your voice and you're going to record markup on top of that, then you'll want to say allow. And a quick note that is, if you click allow and remember before you close, it'll never ask you that again. So there's a quick housekeeping tip to get through the Telestrator. All right, so one quick word, and again, we're running close on time. I appreciate everybody who's attended today. And by the way, I'm going to shut down in just a minute or two. I'm going to shut down the actual recorded part of the session, and then I will stay online and take questions. I'll answer the questions verbally, but I want to get through as much of this as possible, and I want to make sure we set ourselves up well to really dive deep into the Telestrator in this next session. So the last thing I'll say, and we'll wind it up for today, is the Telestrator has 3 modes. So there's really 3 ways you can use this. The first is you and I could be in the same room. So if I use this in a team room environment, which we do with my son's football team, we'll bring all the kids into my office. We'll put the Telestrator up on the wall with a projector, and we'll just start loading videos. And I'll go to my favorites, and I'll pick a video. In this case, let's say the Joey Votto video. So one of my favorite teams. I'm a Reds and Dodgers fan. So I will load these videos, and I can go frame by frame. So I could have Joey Votto up here, and we could talk for a half hour about his stance, his weight shift, and I could show all my kids, and I can pull them up in the V video, and I could show them themselves in comparison to, and nothing's recorded. So this is mode 1, and this is what we call shoulder to shoulder. So back to the Telestrator, we call that shoulder to shoulder, and it's really just 2 or more people collaborating and making insights with nothing recorded. Now the second way is I can hit this red record button, and the system connects to our servers, and it says 3, 2, 1 action. And now you'll notice that everything that I say and do, if I draw lines and I talk about his backside here, and if I start to roll him through his swing, everything is being recorded. And that new video that results from this session, so I'll stop him here, and I'll go get my oval tool, and I'll draw this foot, and I'll talk about, this back elbow. Everything that I'm saying and doing gets recorded and put into a new video, and that video goes into my locker. All right, so that's mode 2, the record mode. And mode 3 is, now I'll finally say stop, and it'll ask me who, what, when, and where. So again, we get this same screen that says give me a subject, a title, and tags. In this case, I'm going to cancel and discard this session. I really don't want to save that analysis. But the third mode is, and I'll reset to get there, you'll notice this button that looks like the target symbol. That is what's called Powercast, and that's the ability to share my screen live. So as a coach, I could have one of my assistant coaches, or I could have the player itself if it's a college environment. I could have one of my players who's back in their dorm room. I could have them online. I would click broadcast, and they would click watch. And what would happen is it would share this entire window across the internet. So literally I can use the phone line. So if I go ahead and say broadcast my screen, and I give it a session name of test and a password of 123 so no one else but my player can join, you'll notice that there's a conference number here. So with PowerChalk and with Powercast, every coach is given a unique access code, and you can actually use these outside of PowerChalk, by the way, guys. If you want to have a team meeting, you want to get 30 people on the line, you can use the PowerChalk conference codes in order to convene that meeting. So with that said, I'm more than a couple minutes over. We're going to go ahead and wrap up today's session. I was hoping to get a little deeper into the Telestrator, but this is actually a good point because we can start fresh in the Telestrator next time, and we'll do each of these 3 modes. We'll do shoulder to shoulder, we'll do some recorded sessions, and we'll do a Powercast and show you how you can start to mark up and make observations using your players, using your players' footage and comparing it to professional athletes. So with that, thanks to everyone who tuned in. Please, like I said, ask questions when this session is over, and we'll see you next Monday.